Hi everyone. So I decided to do a little tutorial on how I do my Milky Way coasters, and those are the glitters I decided to use. So I try to pick a mica powder that kind of matches with that. So I mix that up. I already mixed up my resin, obviously, beforehand. Make sure that you get all kind of the powder really well mixed up, otherwise you get little powder splotches, which drive me crazy. And then I take some Cast and Craft, or you can use any type of white, just opaque pigment. I just happen to use the Cast and Craft because I really like that one. And you mix that up really well. And I mixed up a little bit more than you probably would if you were just doing the coasters, because I had other pieces that I was going to be working on that I needed this for, so I mixed up a little bit more. So you fill just enough to fill in the bottom of the molds. So I kind of do a little like 3-4 count. And then I take and just kind of make sure that it gets all the way up to the edges for all of them. So I just kind of slowly just move it around so it fills in the whole bottom of each mold. And then I usually will take my heat gun after I pick out little random pieces of stuff that I find in there. Take the heat gun, kind of quick, just pop the bubbles. Pick out some more pieces of random stuff. And I work in my garage, so it gets really dusty, so I have a lot of dust pieces I tend to find. So then I take the color, and I do a little bit thicker lines, just kind of do little squiggles all over. And then I take the white and do the same thing. And I kind of had to play with how much white to put in there. If I do too little of lines, it doesn't really fan out very well, but too thick of lines, it kind of takes it over and muddles everything. So I kind of do a little bit medium. And then I take my heat gun and I just kind of swirl everything around. So I go one way and then I go the opposite direction and I kind of go in a circle just so it pushes all that mica powder and the white kind of all around. And then I hit the little camera. So then you do that and then you just leave it and you just let it sit. And so that's the first layer. So this is the second layer. This is what the coaster will kind of look like after the first layer. They kind of start to kind of fan out on their own. And that's all the glitter that I'm using. So I'm mixing all that up. And I use these little medicine cups a lot for these just because it's easier for me to use. So I tend to not be able to do all 4 of them in one single pour, which you'll see kind of as we go along. But so you just take each color and just kind of put them wherever you want on each coaster. And I usually try to pick around 4 different kinds of glitter. I try to get some chunky ones in there and some fine ones to kind of mix it up a little bit. I try to pick colors that kind of go together or match, but really you can do whatever colors you want. This is why these are so fun to make, because you can basically pick whatever colors you want and make them however you want, which is really fun. So for these ones, I kind of wanted to do like a teal blue kind of color. So then here I kind of ran out for how much I needed, so I just remixed a little bit of each one. So I kind of sped it up a little bit. Okay, so mixing all those up. At the beginning, I showed what brand of glitters I used, and I will put that down in the description in case anyone's interested. I kind of have a few different places that I get my glitters through. Okay, and then I just do the same things for these last 2. So just fill in the spaces. And I've always picked 3 or 4 glitters, but you can really, if you only want to do 1 or 2 or even more than that, that's totally fine too. And I don't think I showed it on here, but afterwards I do kind of take my heat gun and do a once over and pop up whatever bubbles kind of pop up to the surface. Sometimes the chunky ones tend to get more bubbles. So, and then you let that sit. And then here's the molding of them. And I really like how they turned out. They have a lot of it looks like it's got a lot of movement in there, which is kind of what I try to go for. There's the second one. So sometimes if you let the white sit a little bit too long, it kind of falls down, which I sometimes like, sometimes I don't. So that's why I try to just really make sure you really spread the white around with the heat gun.
Come in. Come in. Come in.
And then the last one. And then I'll show a picture of how they all look together. And there's the final set.